Okay, so you, and definitely you. Pull up a chair. I'm talking to you. New plant parents, this video is for you. So let's just jump right into it. Let's go. Hello plant community, thanks for tuning into this channel. If you're new here, welcome. And for those of you who continuously watch me every week, thank you. So we're going to get right into it, you guys. If you've been watching my videos, you've seen that I shared with you not too long ago, probably like my top 6 philodendrons that I was loving at the moment. And I just thought that it would be a good idea, after talking to some of you guys as well, to do a philodendron care video for you guys. So you new plant parents, pull up a seat. Hopefully this will be beneficial for you. So let's just get right into it. Of course, philodendrons would be known to be one of the most traditional yet new plant parent friendly plants out there. So I would 100% recommend a philodendron. You can't go wrong. And it's very good because they're very versatile, meaning that they have various growth, such as this beautiful classical heartleaf philodendron. You can't go wrong with this. Like I said, very beautiful. It's a fast grower given the right conditions. And this is the plant, you guys, that I actually found at Dollar General or something like that, and I couldn't believe it for $5. So I just had to get it. You know, I already have an OG one in my collection, but I wanted another one just because. And it's sitting really in my kitchen, and it seems to be doing well so far. But yeah, another style would be the rosette style of growth pattern of the philodendron, such as this beautiful gold caulkin. As you can see, it's very full. Different leaf structures as well. You see it has the elongated leaves with the pointy tips. And then you have the climbing plants, such as this beautiful one right here, which is my philodendron. Let's see, this is the Sancta Martinez. Martinese? I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But this is more of that traditional arrowhead like philodendron that we all love, and it climbs up. So that's one of the beautiful things about philodendrons, you guys, because they're in an array of varieties. Some have color, pops of color here and there. A good example would be this philodendron pink princess that's behind me as well. So very beautiful. So let's just talk about the light, you guys. Another reason why it's also highly recommended for a new plant parent to have philodendrons is because they are very easygoing when it comes to the light. They are very adaptable. You can put them in a very large range of light, from very bright indirect light to a medium light situation, as well as a low light situation. As long as you have some form of light being able to shine on these babies, they will grow for you. Now granted, you guys, now of course if you have it in a brighter light situation, it will do more growth. But if you also have a medium, or like I said, a lower light situation, it still will grow. And also too, you can actually put one of these plants in one of your dark corners of your home, as long as you have some form of a light supplement. You can't go wrong. So for example, I have this solely getting light, not really from any natural light, but it's getting light directly from my Sansi light, and it's doing very well. I had actually propagated it along a while back, and it's provided me with all of this new growth right here. So like I said, very easy care. Now let's talk about the watering. I water my plants, at least my philodendrons, I let them dry out completely before I give them a drink. They prefer to do it that way. I don't want to even chance it. I really let it dry out. So you can use your index finger and do the 2 knuckle test that I was saying. First knuckle represent 1 inch and then a second knuckle represent 2 inch. But in a big pot such as this, of course my finger does not fit all the way in there, and that's where your moisture meter would really come in handy if you're not 100% sure that your plant is dried out. So you want to make sure that it's completely dry out, and then you give it a good drink so that it can drain until it drains kind of well through the pot. Now let's jump into the soil now, since that we're talking about drainage. Keep in mind philodendrons are aeroid, so they do really like a very airy soil. So one of the things that I've been trying to change in regards to my philodendrons is adding a more coarse soil, so something extra outside of just the perlite. So I do my regular potting mix. For the most part, I do buy Miracle Grow. And I don't know if a lot of people have mixed feelings about that, but I buy one that I'm able to afford, 2 and what's really available. And seemingly at my big box stores, Miracle Grow seems to be the most recommended, or I guess the most soil that's available in the stores, at least in my area. And every once in a while, if I'm able to find it, I will get that black gold. But I'm using about, if I had to gauge, about 50% at least of the potting soil, but then I want to do about 25% of my perlite and 25% of the orchid bark. At first I was using perlite only, but what I have noticed is just from me adding the orchid bark, for some reason I see some of my philodendrons really take to that and really like it. I'm seeing some form of increase in growth when I switch it up a little bit, and it's a little bit more airier, and I don't have to, and that's perfect. Orchid bark is perfect if you are a plant parent that waters heavily. Then I would definitely recommend the orchid bark for you, because that way you can ensure that you're not going to risk rotting out the roots of your plant because you have that proper aeration. Now let's talk a little bit about humidity. These plants, I don't think, the ones, at least the ones that I just showed you guys, are not very picky when it comes to humidity. I think our more fussier philodendrons in regards to humidity may come when we come across, like perhaps maybe the Philodendron gloriosum or the melanochrysum. I'm not 100% sure, but I just noticed that one of those bigger plants with more velvety leaves tend to may need a little bit a boost in the humidity range. So the majority of my philodendrons are actually inside my home. The regular humidity temp, at least according to the thermostat that I have in my home, is at least between 50 to 51%, and it tends to love it. So I don't really think that it really needs a bump in humidity in regards to philodendrons as well. Now the temperature, you guys, we want to keep in mind that the temperature, these are tropical plants. I guess the big rule of thumb is you don't want no temperature to reach below that 50 degrees Fahrenheit, because once they get shocked, sometimes it's hard for them to come back. And it's been in my experience, you guys, I've honestly lost a few plants from cold shock. And also too, you want to be mindful if you have drafty windows or doors, or even an area where you're constantly letting that cold frigid air in when the temperature does change. If you live in a 4-season environment, then you want to make sure that you pull those plants away. I've lost a couple of plants as well from just sitting in an area where I may be opening and closing the door to go outside the home on a frequent basis, not realizing that that cold draft is impacting the plant. And so, you know, I've learned through the tragic events that I've had to not do that. So it's just best to make sure that these plant babies are not in any form of a draft. Now, as far as propagation, which is another reason why philodendrons is that #1 top plant to go to for new plant parents, is their propagation is fairly easy. There's multiple ways that you can propagate, you guys. Of course, you can do air layering, you can do soil propagation, you can do sphagnum moss, and you can do water. Now, my #1 go-to, you guys, is the water propagation, because I love being able to see the roots actually starting to emerge from the stem of the plant, or from the aerial roots. So just in case you guys are not familiar with how to properly cut your plant up when you propagate, I'm going to use this as an example. You see this area right here. It actually has nodes. Nodes is that area in your plant stem where roots are able to form and develop. The stem in between from one node to the next, so from this area to over here, this stem right here would be considered the internode. So any section in between one node to the next is the inner node. And what you want to do is you actually want to cut in between the inner nodes, and then you can take the node part and dip it in whatever medium you want to use to actually encourage growth. Now, another tip that I do, if I do propagate with my sphagnum moss, I do use a growth hormone that I kind of like just coat the node in, and I stick it in my moist sphagnum moss and put it in my propagation box, which seems to do very well. But like I said, my number one go-to, you guys, is the water method. Now, I want to show you too that I was able to propagate some philodendron micans, and I'm going to show you this, you guys. This right here. So I actually cut a couple of nodes off and I put it in water, and when the roots started forming, I just went on and put it in here. But I like this because it has this little dome, and you see the top right here? You can actually turn it to either keep the air out or keep the air in, or let some fresh air come in. So it's almost like its own little mini ecosystem, so to speak, in here, and I think it's very cool. I believe I got these at Amazon. It was like a pack of 10. So I kind of like this. And also the cool feature too is I can keep track of the root growth in here as well. So once I had propagated and started growing roots, I pulled it out the water and I planted it in the soil. And ever since then, it's been doing good. It's definitely been growing. It's actually ready, you guys, from what you can see here. It's ready for me to actually take it out of here if I wanted to, and just put it in a regular nursery pot if I wanted to. Now I'm gonna leave it alone because I'm not gonna mess with it since we're in the fall season right now. But it's definitely ready to be out where I can take the top, because look, you guys, it's already starting to trail, and I really love the velvety leaves on it. Very beautiful plant, and look, it's very full on top, you guys, very full. And so this is a great way to share some of your beautiful plants with your friends, if you want to gift it to somebody, or if you just want to increase your collection and say, hey, you know what, philodendrons tend to grow very well under my care. Let me just keep the family of the aeroids continuing by just propagating and spreading the love throughout my home. So I also want to touch on the light part in regards to the micans. Now, if any of you have the micans, it's probably best to not have this particular plant in like a bright indirect light situation, especially maybe like your south or west facing windows. You probably don't want to put this on there because it will definitely scorch the leaves, and also too it will start changing or turning the color. So over time, as it does get light, for the micans, it will have that beautiful copper tone to it, but then it will get a little bit on the back, it'll get a little bit too coppery, and that's an indicator that it may be receiving a little bit too much light than this plant is ready to be able to receive. So you just want to pull it back some. So yeah, I just wanted to share these quick tips with you guys. I hope that for your new plant parents out there, that any of these things was helpful. If you have any questions, please shoot a comment below. Let's start a conversation. As always, I like talking with y'all. I like learning things from y'all too, so I really appreciate the comments down there. So don't forget, just comment below. And as always, you guys, keep in mind, if you love foliage as much as I do and you love listening to planty things, definitely hit the subscribe button. Give me big thumbs up, or you can give me thumbs down. It's up to you. And I appreciate your opinion one way or another. But you enjoy your day, you guys, wherever you are in the world. And until next time, guys, much love. Bye.